Hey guys, this is Matt Granger, that Nikon guy for mattgranger.com. I recently did a video on extension tubes and it got a really great response. You can click that link to see that. It seems there's a lot of interest in them as a tool, and I got a lot of questions on that video, private messages and emails from people asking how does the quality compare and the actual practice of using it compared to having a dedicated macro lens. So I'm just going to do a little overview on that now, then I'm going to make two comparison videos so you can see it firsthand. Now, first of all, a common thing that I find is that people who are just getting started, or actually at all levels, are really tied up in what's the technical sharpness and what's, you know, in laboratory style conditions, what's 1% better than something else. And I have to say, I get it, and I do appreciate that sort of stuff myself, but don't waste too much time on it. If you don't own a macro lens yet and you're interested in getting into it, get extension tubes. You can't go wrong. The technical quality may not be quite as good, but it will really depend on what lens you use with the macro or with the extension tubes compared to what macro lens. There's all different quality of macro lenses out there, and there's all different quality of regular lenses. So if you put extension tubes on a crummy lens, then the results are going to be crummy. But if you put it on a stellar lens, then the results are going to be pretty good. And I promise you, you will, the most important thing is that you have your technique right. Macro lenses go down to a really low F number or high F number, whichever way you like to say it, like F40, F50, F60, because when you're working that close, your depth of field is so tiny, you really need great technique and an amazing F number to be able to get enough of it sharp. So that's going to be something that you need to really work on. But if you get your technique right, there's no reason why you can't create beautiful, amazing macro shots using extension tubes. And I know professionals who use them on their regular lenses and sell them as art prints, and they just look stunning. It's all about the overall technique and workflow, not that specific piece of gear. That said, I know people will want to see comparisons, and I'm interested to do it myself. So I've brought along the Kenko extension tubes. These are the automatic ones, a 3-section setup that do full autofocus and everything for Nikon, and they also make them for Canon and other brands. I'll put all the links below. And I've brought along from Tamron the 60mm f2 and the 90mm 2.8, both macros that go down to 1:1. This is a DX lens, this is an FX lens. So I'm going to make two different videos. Click on the link that's on screen now, and I'm going to compare the 60mm f2 macro to the 50mm Nikon 1.4G with the extension tubes. Now the focus range is a little bit off, 50 to 60, but close enough. And that's a super sharp lens, a 50mm. So, you'll see how good a result we can actually get. And then if you click on the link that's on screen there, I'm going to use the 90mm macro from Tamron, which is an FX lens, and compare it to my 85 1.4G. Now this is not made for macro. This only stops down to something like f16, whereas this will stop down to probably like f64. But super duper sharp, beautiful color rendition, all of those things. You know all about this lens, I'm sure. So we'll see what sort of results we can get on the extension tubes. So click through on those links. But for now, my general advice would be, if you're getting started and you've got a couple of different lenses, I would say go for the extension tubes. They're cheaper than buying any macro lens you're going to find anyway. And it turns all your lenses pretty much into a macro. How close you can get depends on the lens and what focal length it is and how close it originally let you focus. And the results you get will again be dependent on the quality of the lens and, more importantly, your technique. But until you really get into macro and know what you like to shoot, and that's going to dictate what focal length you need, there's no point splashing out on a macro. If you're really insistent and you want to get one, then I'd say get something like a 105, so at least then, or in that sort of range, so it's still going to be a great portrait lens. Some people like to do macros around 200mm, so they're not super close to their subject, and other people like to use shorter lenses so they are right on top of it. It depends what you're shooting and how you like to shoot. So check out those two links, and I'll see you soon. I hope that's interesting. Thanks guys. Matt Granger, that Nikon guy for mattgranger.com.